Welcome everyone from the YouTube comic book community, whenever and wherever you're watching. So it is today's video is all about annuals. As you know, this week, DC released a bunch of annuals, which they usually do every month that has 5 Wednesdays. And let's get right on to it. First up, as always, Action Comics Annual number 2, which is the first part of the Krypton Returns crossover between Superboy, Supergirl, and Superman, which kicks off in strength next month with every 25 with every issue 25. So this is probably the third act, you could say, or of the whole Hell saga, which started with Hell on Earth, and it really picks up where I believe it was Superman 23.1, the Hell issue ended. So throughout the books, both in Superman and in Supergirl, uh, both of them were actually brought out to space by the Oracle, which first showed up in Superman number 17. So a reminder of this being the Oracle, which is pretty much a copy of Marvel's The Watcher. Basically, the Oracle is part of a race of beings who can see everything from any point in time, but they can see the past, the present, and the future, but they aren't allowed to intervene. So that's pretty much the Watcher, who can actually see every timeline over at Marvel, but they really aren't allowed to intervene. So the same thing is with the Oracle. So I'll try to do this very quickly, because it's a pretty I have 4 books. So basically, Superman and Supergirl find themselves in front of the Oracle there, and they are later joined by Superboy. And so most of the issue is pretty much exposition as to what has happened since the villains issue of Hell. We get rehash of his origin and of what he's been up to since that issue, which is basically he has gone through time several times trying to find a way to save Krypton, because in every timeline he's gone to, Krypton ends up blowing up in every single time, until he found a timeline where Jor-El actually is able to stop the destruction, which brings us to the Krypton that we see that Superman, Supergirl, and Superboy find themselves in, which is a Krypton that was basically conquered by Hell, and pretty much all of his time traveling has caused a rip in the time-space continuum, pretty much destroying all of reality, of every reality, every alternate timeline that might exist, the whole as omniverse. So they have to go back in time at certain moments so as to be able to stop Hal from ever achieving his goal. Uh, so this, of course, was teased a little over a year ago in the Zero issues in Superboy, Supergirl, and Superman, where you find each member of the Superman family at a different point in time. So this ties into that. So I've been really waiting for this storyline to kick off for more than a year, I guess. Yeah, more than a year and a month since it was teased that in the zero issues. There's been a lot of criticism with this issue. I've been reading the reviews. Not many people have liked it. Bit of illogical things. Like what can they go to the actual moment before Hal did the whole thing at the exact moment we started. But I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I mean, you really have to stretch a bit on that, but I absolutely loved it. Well, not loved it, but really enjoyed it, and can't wait to see the rest of the story um next month. So of course the story is by Scott Lobdell. The art is shared. It's kind of Rockefeller on the on the on most of the issue, um, which I love his art. He does use unconventional paneling, weird angles and things like that, and mostly, in fact, the entire issue um, is pretty much double page spreads. Just spreads. Every page is like actually like this, going double pages throughout. So basically, you have no ads at all until like at the very back. And once the Superman families in their respective past time period, the art is done by Dan Jorgens, but both the inking and the coloring, in fact you can tell because he uses a much more I guess traditional layout, but both the inking and the coloring actually make the Jorgens pages fit with the with the rest of the book, with the with Rockefeller's style, so it doesn't feel too jarring when you change from one artist to the next. I mean, you could probably uh done something different, but go more for Jorgen's own style, but they decided to add a much more um, rougher inking around, and of course the coloring sort of keeps up with the mood. And I mentioned this when I talked about Wonder Woman, the as the fact that there are several artists working on that book besides Cliff Chang, that the colorist is the one that has maintained the overall tone of the book, and the fact that most of the all of the Wonder Woman artists have very similar styles. That at first I personally don't notice the difference in style, but the coloring brings everything together so in this book. So I really like this book. Another book I was waiting for was an Aquaman Annual #1, which is another story focusing on the others. This one has more Aquaman than the last uh, issue that had the others in it. Which, and again, like the last, I don't even remember what issue it was. I think it was um, somewhere prior to Throne of Atlantis that we got that story, but I'm not sure. But again, the story is written by John Ostrander. Um, I really like the story. They're facing off against Morgan Le Fay, um, and like I said the last time, I think DC should just give them their own book. I mean, there are a great addition to to DC. They're all new characters. I and this issue, this actually sort of ends in a way that you're left wanting to know more, whether each of these character stories will go down the line. So I really hope DC actually just gives them their own book. So it was a fun book. I really loved it. Really liked it a lot. The art, which is by Geraldo Borges and Neto Diaz, with a bunch of inkers. Um, you know, it has a very nice classic art feel to it. Um, not again, it's a book that, despite the fact that it's got two pencilers and maybe seven inkers, it feels very, you know, it doesn't feel like the art changes too much, or you don't feel that you're changing from penciler to penciler. Maybe a little bit, but not that I noticed the changes in style. So that was fun. Of course, next up is a must-read book, Green Lantern Annual #2, the conclusion to Lights Out. Now, I've only read the Green Lantern issue. I don't read the other Lantern books, but the Vendetti did a great job, of telling. I mean, this feels like a very full story. You get Vendetti a great job just catching the reader up with what happened in the other books. Um, and it doesn't feel like it's just part five of something. It does feel like a very full story, and this of course will continue next week with Green Lantern #25. um, the art is by Sean Chan, which is one of the I guess you could say the first time I saw his art was way back, when he was doing Iron Man with Kurt Busiek back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when in the whole Heroes Return era. So I was glad to see his name on it, and you know, a really great conclusion to this, I guess, mini event, Green Lantern mini event. It does change a lot of things for the Green Lantern universe. Oa was destroyed, so the new headquarters will be Mogo, the giant planet Greenland, sentient planet Green Lantern. Um, the art is just amazing. Um, uh, I mean, you haven't. Uh, so yeah, Mogo uh, shows up and basically becomes the new home for the Green Lantern Corps. Um, Kyle apparently dies, but he apparently died, um, but he returned in the end, and apparently Relic is gone for good, but you never know. As he is trapped in the source wall. So yeah, I really liked it. Great ending to that. Um, and then Teen Titans Annual #2, which uh, it kind of ties into the Action Comics Annual #2 because here Superboy gets sent to the Oracle. So of course this story continues from Titan #24 and Forever Evolved 2. The Titans are still traveling in time, and of course they appear. Superboy, Wonder Girl, and Red Robin show up in the alternate timeline where the evil Superboy, which is the original, as the Superboy, the current Superboy was a clone of, and he's supposedly the son of Superman and Lois Lane, but he was corrupted by Harvest. Very complicated origin. So they show up at that timeline, and so Red Robin learns what happened in this timeline, how this evil Superboy pretty much has killed every meta-human superhero, uh, which is pretty much what he was raised to do by Harvest. From back in the early Superboy, earlier issues of Superboy. Sorry. So I'm not spoiling anything when I basically say that Superboy has been said that this Superboy is going to die at the end of the Return to Krypton. It's no secret; it's been out there for a while. It was talked about in the New York Comic Con, and that this Superboy will be taking over the Superboy title. So here in this issue, we get how that switch happened. So Superboy goes, back to, to me with the Superman and Supergirl. This Superboy got badly hurt during a battle he had with, Superboy. So the badly hurt Superboy disappears, of course, So um future versions of Beast Boy and the Ravager take him and replace him with it's a very complicated story. Let's just say the whole switch of how the evil son of Superman takes over the Superboy book happens here. Again, so written by Scott Lobdell. Barry Kitson did the whole layouts with the feature by Art Thierbert, Jesus Marino, and let me check here. Uh, Jesus Marino, Art Thierbert, Scott Hanna, and Barry Kidston. So you got layouts and a ton of people doing the finished art. I actually like the annual. Again, it's a very, in many ways, it's a very standalone story because focusing on doing the switch here between Superboys. Um, what else? Of course, this specific story very hard to put word because it's so confusing as a story to explain. Unless you're being reading Teen Titans and even a little bit of Superboy, you might get the whole thing. But just a very just a standalone issue focusing on the Son of Superman, evil Son of Superman, the switch between Superboys, uh, and then I guess that's it. The Titans will continue their time travel adventures, with the next issue of Teen Titans. In fact, the next issue will be focusing on Kid Flash, so I'm looking forward to that. So sorry if I rambled a bit there at the end with the whole Teen Titans thing, but yeah, it is a bit of a complicated thing, and I guess so coming into it might be a little bit difficult to explain. So those were my books um for this week. I gotta say, pretty much I enjoyed all of them. For guess the one I guess that my top book would be this one, cause it's this is very much a, a group of characters that I'm liking. And I wish that DC would do more with them. The whole story is, pretty much a standalone one-shot story. Of course, this one would be my second favorite, starting a very interesting story. A story I've been waiting for quite a bit actually, so I'm glad it's finally kicking off. Um, yeah, Green Lantern number 2. It was a very good conclusion to the Lights Out mini event. If I like I said, I didn't follow the rest of the issues of the story besides the Green Lantern stuff. But the writing does a great job um, to pretty much make the reader make it feel like a standalone issue. I guess you could say. You get everything um, that's happened before. You get all very nicely uh, summarized throughout the dialogue and throughout the issue, and keeping the story moving forward. Great conclusion. Something that pretty much has changed the status quo of the Green Lantern books, and I guess you could say it's a very good way to start the new era post Geoff Johns of the Green Lantern saga that Johns and Tomasi and the other writers did before the new group of writers came along. So they did their thing, doing a few changes, continuing a bit on building up on a bit of what Johns did and the other writers did. And then, Lights Out is really the event that pretty much sets the tone for this new era of Green Lantern books. And of course, sadly, Teen Titans, again, not bad, not, it's not bad. Like I said, it's very much a standalone in and of itself. A very independent story that builds up on what's been going on in the since issue 24, and Forever Evil number 2, and this stuff will be continuing on for a few more issues, and with the switch and with the switch of Superboys traveling through time, uh with the Teen Titans having this evil Superboy with them now, that's gonna make the story their story a little bit more interesting, I guess. But still, like it's a bit convoluted, very hard to explain what's going on verbally to you if you haven't read the Teen Titans, because a lot of stuff happens that's been building up for quite a while. So you've so all of that finally come to a point where all of these past stories are tying up together to set off a new set of stories. And like I said, it kind of ties in with Action Annual number 2, because this is where Superboy disappears and makes the switch rather easy. So I've been running a little bit on too long, uh, but 4 books, a lot of stuff to talk about them. I remind you that sometime Sunday, might I'm hoping it's Sunday. Um, at episode 2 of Comics and Beyond will be coming. Again, it'll be a pre-recorded show, um, which will in which I will probably have a lot more stuff to talk about. I really want to talk about the ending of Battle of the X-Men. I have not read it. I've actually read what's thanks to the internet, Newsarama, I think it was who gave away the whole ending. So I want to talk about that. Some other stuff, news, I think I might want to talk about. Still working on stuff to talk about the the for the next episode. Uh, Again, if you want to be a part of a live show, let me know so we could arrange things. For the time being, I'm doing all of this pre-recorded, uh, putting them up on Sundays. I might probably put it up earlier, maybe on Saturday or on Monday. Sunday's a bit of a slow day. Um, but yeah, if you want to be part of the show for a live hangout, so it's not just me talking about me, but making it a more dynamic thing. Again, repeat again. Let me know, and we'll arrange something, and uh, throughout the week, depending on who wants to be on and scheduling, we could do it, and over the weekend, or throughout the week. So until next time, I'll end it. Oh, and I hope you all had a great Halloween. Uh, Here in Mexico, tomorrow, Saturday the 2nd, is the Day of the Dead. Um, so around the Mexican version of Halloween, which is completely different. It's got a more religious thing going on there. Anyways, until next time, keep smiling.